So as you pull into the parking lot, it's it's absolutely amazing. It's just this colossal jungle full of leaves and plants and epiphytes just sort of dripping everywhere. Orchids and bromeliads hanging on everything. And in this tree you see some dendrobiums there, the canes hanging down, and some Schomburgkias, or what used to be called Schomburgkias, just covering this entire. And then you enter the main showroom, or the purchasing area, I guess, and it's just immaculately kept with the most amazing orchids all over the place. And that's actually, you see the back of my friend Don's head there. Don is actually the gentleman who knows Bob Fuchs, and when we were there just hanging out, taking a break from the show, we went there and Bob came out and greeted us and took us on this tour. It was really great. So as Bob was taking us around, it was very quickly apparent that the way he keeps his greenhouses are also immaculate, and it's just these row upon row of multi-level Vanda stories within these absolutely enormous greenhouses with not even a single leaf on the ground anywhere. And I mean, this is the third shot of the third greenhouse. I mean, it's just absolutely spectacular. And here's yet another greenhouse with more Vandas and different types of orchids and everywhere. And it was really, really an eye-opener of how interesting and how clean an orchid nursery really should be. And it was just so cool to see. And for this part, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play some music and show you some really cool flowers. And then afterwards, I'll show you an alligator. So here's the part where I promised you an alligator. It turns out that Bob has his own little cenote, I guess, or a sinkhole filled with naturally filled with fresh water in his backyard. And he's filled that cenote with an alligator, as you can see there, and these gigantic 30-pound pacus and some absolutely enormous catfish. And so as you're walking up, this is what you see. There's my friend Don there on the left, and there's Bob there on the right. And you walk up and you see this platform, and Bob actually, he's able to actually call the alligator in by his voice. You can see the alligator swimming in from the top of the screen there, and surrounded by giant fish. It's just the coolest thing that I've ever seen in anyone's backyard, anywhere, ever, maybe. I don't know. It definitely made me want my own cenote, an alligator, and really cool, gigantic tropical fish from the end. And finally, I'm going to leave you here with this image of this absolutely enormous, gigantic Vanda that is essentially swallowing an entire palm tree. This is also in Bob's backyard. And the last photo here is the Buddha there with a wonderful dendrobium framed over it. And this is the last of the orchids. The rest of this video will be about my trip to the Everglades. So, as mentioned, I was able to spend about a day at the Everglades, and it was really cool. Basically, you just head west from Miami along Highway 41, and you'll just see tons and tons of these airboat tours, and you can see this airboat here. I actually ended up taking a tour with Everglades Safari Park, and it was really great. I had a lot of fun, and we got to see lots of gators, and there was a big boat, and here we are, sort of slowly leaving the dock area and making our way out along this canal, I guess you could say, and looking for alligators. And you know, a lot of folks think that the Everglades is actually this huge giant swamp, but it's not. It's actually this enormous river that moves at an incredibly slow rate. And if you look into the water is really clear. It's got a little bit of staining from a lot of leaves, but it looks really clean. And then once we leave the no wake zone, we're just flying through the Everglades. It's considered a river of grass, as you can see, and it's just these low-lying grass with these sort of elevated pockets of trees, and there's just all kinds of life out there. And as we got out towards, farther away from the dock, you could see that there's this thunderstorm that was cruising by, and we got really right up close to it, and it just made for some absolutely spectacular scenery and some great photographs. And obviously when we're flying along, we're not seeing a whole lot of gators, but really when we slow down and head back, that's when we started seeing quite a few. In fact, that canal where we were moving slowly seemed to be full of gators. On the way back, we saw, here's a couple of them. There's these sort of pockets that are right there. And then once we got back, they have a live gator show where these ladies they've trained these gators to kind of jump up and down, and they sit on their back and kind of pet them, and they give them a little bit of food. And these are captive gators. They said these captive gators would not do well in the wild. And here's a 45-year-old male. He's just absolutely enormous, and she just kind of taps him on the nose, and he lunges out of the water and looking for food. And some really cool stuff, actually. I wasn't expecting to have a gator-themed park. And then you walk outside the show, and there's these captive gators that are humongous, just kind of lounging about, doing whatever it is a gator does most of the day. And apparently it's just lying. They said that they lie motionless longer than cats do. They just really don't do anything. And here they had an American crocodile. That's the lighter colored one on the lower right, next to the two alligators. And the next photo shows a really great headshot of the difference between the two. The gators are there on the top right, and then the crocodile, the American crocodile, is there on the bottom left. And that is an endangered species, only found in very South Florida. And of course there were epiphytes. I looked for some orchids, but I couldn't see any, just some bromeliads. And I'll just leave you here with this moment of zen as I was walking down the walkway above the Everglades here in this little outcrop of trees, I guess you could say. But anyway, I hope you are having a great weekend, and I will see you guys later. See ya.